Greetings. Well, today's posting is about the cavity, in particular, the cavity in the wall, but the cavity anywhere in construction where it's used to defend the inner surface or the inner part of the building from driving rain or from condensation. Anywhere that we need to protect the inner skin or a skin of material away from the weather. And I go through the various options in it. There are no sketches, just comments on the way that you should look at the detail, take time, understand where the detail is in relation to the rest of the building, and think about driving rain, about condensation, where will it occur, how you might stop the condensation by a vapor barrier or a retention layer. And then comes the most difficult one, and that is if you're building against an existing building and you open up the skin of that building and you find something like the picture that's now at the top of the presentation that I've got. Is interesting. It's a 9-inch wall, and I'm going to use imperial because that's probably what it was in the day it was built. And then somebody has built a cavity on the outside of it. Why? Who knows? Perhaps to stop driving rain coming through, damp, or was the outer skin that badly damaged by alterations or whatever. But they've used an interesting clay brick to link the two halves together, and it's a cranked brick. And again, when you see the presentation, or the newsletter, you'll see what I mean by it, and it's quite an interesting detail. But the problem is, how do you actually link the two together, the new build onto an existing build like this? Where's the DPC? I have no idea. From the picture that I'm looking at, I can't see a DPC at all. So how do you deal with it? Two separate walls, both built at different times. How do I put a new build against it? And how do I connect my new DPC in the new build? And how do I connect it to the old build? If I do indeed connect it, do I keep them separate? Which is probably the route I would go. Separate the two buildings, make sure that damp can't get through the separation point, make a point of it. I use a shadow groove. I put a pipe in front of it to try and protect the space from oncoming driving rain. And then I put a barrier strip down the back of the seal, and then seal it with an industrial sealant, not this bathroom stuff, but a proper industrial seal that is connected two sides only, not one side as a right angle. That's going to fail. It needs to connect two opposite faces. And that's what the barrier seal does. It shapes the seal into the right shape. So if it does have to move and contract, then it's got room to do it. And the seal itself can cope with that. So today's newsletter is all about that. How to deal with it. How to deal with the DPC. Not in the terms of I've got loads of pictures to do it, but I want you to think about it and do the research and look at the way that damp could get through. Have you got a concrete slab? And as the engineer said, I want piles, which means you've got to deal with the pile first, seal it with a DPM around it with a collar, and then look at the way that the collar and the DPM are joined together. It's a messy operation, but done correctly, it works. Or is the DPM laid flat, no piles are at all, and there is a ring beam around the side of it? So it's a raft sort of construction. Do you take the DPM up and along and back up the face and then build up in one form or another. Think about the detail. Think about how damp is going to be kept out of that building, or rising damp or water. It's all the same. So there's the detail. How about looking at ventilation? My existing building, is it got an underfloor or is it a solid floor? If it's a solid floor and there's no DPM there, what are you going to do? In my book, it has to be taken up and then relayed again, which is hard work, but it's the only way to make sure that it's detailed. How do you detail with the DPM coming up? Interesting. The whole detail then needs, if there are rooms within the building, and my first house was an old terrace cottage, solid floor at the back, ventilated cellar at the front. So we had to lay pipes through the old building as we took up the floor, relayed it, put pipes in to ventilate it to make sure the air could circulate all the way through. And I opened up the other side of that room, the cellar area, and made sure there was extra ventilation points to make sure there was air coming underneath. And I insulated it, the underside of the floor, in between the joists as well. So that's it. It's an interesting world when you're doing work like that, trying to understand how the details will come together, old, new, or just new. Or if you're refurbing an older building and there's nothing else going on and it's just that refurbishment, how are you going to deal with it? Don't just use an old detail. Sit, think, understand, and then sketch it out. Does it look right? Does it feel right? And then draw it up properly. Hope that's good. Hope you enjoyed the article. Keep it in your notes file and make sure that you are using it as a research tool. I've put some notes down about the article that I took this from an engineer called Des McCall in LinkedIn. It's his photograph, and I asked permission to use it, which he gratefully gave. And also read through the comments, because there are a lot of comments that are being put onto this article. It started off with one or two, and the last time I looked, there was 170 something down there. I kept a lot of the comments that are coming through from other engineers, architects, surveyors, technicians, but myself, who put it all together. So if you get the chance, go and look at the article. I put a link into my note for it. Have a look at it, understand it, and then scroll down and read all the comments. Some of them are really interesting. There are some from the old Builder magazine where they show how foundations and this was all used and how this cranked tie was used. And funnily enough, there's a guy from Australia, a lecturer like myself, who actually said it's down there as well. I can't remember what the name of it was now. I think it's called a Jennings cavity brick. And they copied it and used an Australian version down there. Have fun. Hope you enjoy it. Toodaloo.